One suggestion for winning in Iowa and New Hampshire this year: do not campaign there. Do not kiss babies. Keep a very low profile. Politico.com noting this week that the candidates at the top of the polls in the Republican primaries right now are the ones who have spent the least amount of time meeting with voters in the early states. Look at who's ahead. It's Newt Gingrich and Herman Cain in the early states, both of whom, as noted by Politico, quote, ride high in early state polls, having also spent more time promoting their own interests and book projects than on the trail in Iowa and New Hampshire. Rick Santorum, meanwhile, has been camping out in Iowa, making a point of visiting every single one of that state's 99 counties. And yet, Mr. Santorum still polling at roughly 4% there. Also, John Huntsman focusing his entire campaign on New Hampshire, only polling at 9% there and can't get a bounce to save his life. And don't forget poor Tim Pawlenty, who sunk everything into Iowa, who ran really, really, really hard in Iowa and then dropped out after the Ames straw poll. This year, for whatever reason, early state campaigning does not translate into doing well. It doesn't seem to be cutting it for Republican candidates. What does seem to be having an impact for the candidates in the polls is the debates. Tons of people watching the debates, and there have been a ton of debates. The Republican candidates have already completed 10 of them, along with 2 forums and one sort of fakey, super friendly 2-person non-debate between Newt Gingrich and Herman Cain, for which the tickets were really expensive. And there's apparently going to be 3 more debates just between now and Christmas. These things have been the greatest show on earth. I mean, at the very first debate, we were reminded why it is so great that Ron Paul is always around at these things.
Senator, are you suggesting that heroin and prostitution are an exercise of liberty?
Up until this past century, for over 100 years they were legal. What you're inferring is, you know what? If we legalize heroin tomorrow, everybody's going to use heroin. How many people here would use heroin if it was legal? I bet nobody would put the hand, oh, yeah, I need the government to take care of me. I don't want to use heroin, so I need these laws.
I never thought heroin would get applause here in South Carolina.
That was the first Republican debate back in May when Ron Paul says, essentially, we should legalize heroin, and the audience goes nuts. Then at the first debate in Iowa in August, Rick Santorum, the man who famously compared being gay to doing something that he described as man on dog, he made what appeared to be what sounded like a bit of unsolicited pro-gay rights testimony.
I don't apologize for the Iranian people being free for a long time, and now they're under a malocracy that tramples the rights of women, tramples the rights of gays, tramples the rights of people all throughout their society.
Rick Santorum stands up for the rights of gay people in Iran. He does not appear to have changed his opposition to gay rights in this country. But thanks to the Republican debate show, weird stuff happens. Rick Santorum speaking up for gay Iranians is now a thing that exists in the world. I love this show. Then at the next debate in September, we learned another new thing about Republican debate audiences. Nobody expected legalizing heroin to be an applause line in the first place, but at the NBC debate at the Reagan Library, presiding over a record number of executions became an applause line.
Your state has executed 234 death row inmates, more than any other governor in modern times. Have you struggled to sleep at night with the idea that any one of those might have been innocent?
In the state of Texas, if you come into our state and you kill one of our children, you kill a police officer, you are involved with another crime and you kill one of our citizens, you will face the ultimate justice in the state of Texas, and that is you will be executed.
What do you make of that dynamic just happened here? The mention of the execution of 234 people drew applause.
I think Americans understand justice.
Then at the next debate, just a couple of days later, the Republican debate audience made itself famous again.
Let me ask you this hypothetical question. A healthy 30-year-old young man has a good job, makes a good living, but decides, you know what, I'm not going to spend $200 or $300 a month for health insurance because I'm healthy, I don't need it. But, something terrible happens, all of a sudden he needs it.
My advice to him would have a major medical policy, but not before.
But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it, and he needs intensive care for 6 months. Who pays?
That's what freedom is all about, taking your own risk. This whole idea that you have to prepare and take care of everybody.
But, Congressman, are you saying that society should just let him die?
No.
Yeah. The debate crowd, yeah. Saying if somebody who doesn't have insurance gets sick, yeah, let them die. Then the next debate was when it became clear why it is that Rick Perry is the last kid on the bench when it comes to choosing up sides in Debate Club.
I think Americans just don't know sometimes which Mitt Romney they're dealing with. Is it the Mitt Romney that was on the side of against the Second Amendment before he was for the Second Amendment? Was before he was before these social programs from the standpoint of he was for standing up for Roe versus Wade before he was against Roe versus Wade? Yesterday we found out through Admiral Mullen that Haqqani has been involved with, and that's the terrorist group directly associated with the Pakistani countries. And that's exactly what I'm going to bring to Washington when I go there in in January of 2013.
That's what they call foreshadowing. At the next debate, we're now into October, we really started to see that the Rick Perry, Mitt Romney bickering we've all come to know and love about the Republican debate show, that was not only going to be exciting, it was going to be funny.
I'll tell you this, though. We have the lowest number of kids as a percentage uninsured of any state in America. You have the highest. I'm still speaking. We have less than 1% of our kids that are uninsured. You have 1 million kids uninsured in Texas. 1 million kids. Under President Bush, the percentage uninsured went down. Under your leadership, it's gone up.
I'm still speaking. That was just the I'm still. You can do this even fighting with yourself. Anyway, that was just the warm-up for the following debate a week later where the Romney-Perry storyline really peaked. The October 18th episode of the Republican debate show was the one where Mitt Romney laid hands on Rick Perry.
Mitt, you lose all of your standing from my perspective because you hired illegals in your home and you knew about it for a year. And the idea that you stand here before us and talk about that you're strong on immigration is on its face the height of hypocrisy.
Governor Romney?
Rick, I don't think I've ever hired an illegal in my life. And so I'm afraid I'm looking forward to finding your facts on that because that just doesn't.
I'll tell you what the facts are.
Rick, again.
You had the word.
I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
The newspaper.
I'm speaking. Are you just going to keep talking?
Yes,
Are you going to let me finish with what I have to say? Look, Rick.
I thought Republicans followed the rules.
This has been a tough couple of debates for Rick, and I understand that, and so you're going to get testing. We hired a lawn company to mow our lawn, and they had illegal immigrants that were working there. And when that was pointed out to us, we let them go. And we went to them and said, you have a problem with allowing someone to finish speaking. And I suggest that if you want to become president of the United States, you got to let both people speak. So first, let me speak. So we went to the company and we said, look, you can't have any illegals working on our property. I'm running for office, for Pete's sake. I can't have illegals.
I'm running for office, for Pete's sake. I'm speaking. That performance, followed a few weeks later by the Oops debate.
I will tell you, it's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see.
You need 5.
Oh, 5. Okay. So commerce, education, and the
EPA?
EPA. There you go. No, again.
Let's talk deficit.
Seriously? Is EPA the one you were talking about? Or?
No, sir. We were talking about the agencies of government. EPA needs to be rebuilt. There's no doubt about that.
But you can't name the third one?
The third agency of government, yeah. I would do away with the education, commerce, and let's see. I can't. The third one I can't. Sorry. Oops.
What do you think he did have written down that he was looking at that didn't help? Anyway, just a few days later, we got another one of those clarifying moments. I'm speaking about Republican debate audiences.
Mr. Kaine, of course, you're familiar with the long-running debate we've had about whether waterboarding constitutes torture or is it an enhanced interrogation technique. In the last campaign, Republican nominee John McCain and Barack Obama agreed that it was torture and should not be allowed legally, and that the Army Field Manual should be the methodology used to interrogate enemy combatants. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree, sir?
I agree that it was an enhanced interrogation technique.
And then you would support it as president. You would return to that policy.
I would return to that policy. I don't see it as torture. I see it as an enhanced interrogation technique.
Congresswoman Bachmann, your opinion on this question that our emailer asked.
If I were president, I would be willing to use waterboarding. I think it was very effective. It gained information for our country.
Woo! I love the hooter. It's the clapping and then the hoot. Woo! Applauding torture. And just to be clear that that's what they're doing, they applaud it twice. Woo! Waterboarding. Over this past weekend, there was another one of those forums, this one probably most notable for the fact that 3 of the 6 candidates in attendance cried during the event. But perhaps maybe a tribute to House Speaker John Boehner, who cries a lot, who cried last week. I always find it charming. In any case, the Republican debate show is not stopping anytime soon. 10 debates, 2 forums, and 1 two-person debate-ish thing already in the can. There are set to be 13 more. 13 more through mid-March. And that's even before we get to the real presidential debates during the general election. I know it is inevitable, but I'm going to be so sad when this show gets canceled.